Hey guys, B-Dog's Maths here, and I'm B-Dog, and this video was a request from a higher level GCSE student in year 11, okay? So, and they've asked me to demonstrate a few tricks on how to solve problems using functions. Functions at this level is actually just been dropped down from the A level. You're not going to be using it and doing things with functions to the A-level standard, but they want to have it introduced at GCSE level, which I think is a great idea because, in truth, functions, if you understand what's going on, is actually a good pointer now, in your GCSE. So you don't really want to be avoiding this question. You want to try to master it, because once you've mastered it, it really is something that you can access. Okay, so yeah, this is for GCSE students, guys. But really, if you're on a higher path, you can if you're on a middle path, you can follow this. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you got the exam this year, next year, 3 years down the line. This video should help. So this is part one of 2 videos I'm going to do on functions, because I think it's best to split them and not rush things and not make too long a video, because it just gets, you want to have a break in between them. So here are the 4 things that I've written down that functions kind of covers. First of all, you need to really get the notation of functions, about how substitution works within functions, how you get the inverse function and the composite function, and I've split them in green and blue. Green will be part 1, so the video we're on now, and then blue is the one I'll do in video part 2. Alright, so we're going to start off with these 2 at the moment. Brilliant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a function that you would have done at primary school. So I'm going to do this. Let me think. This is a function, by the way. You would have had something. I mean, there's many ways of drawing it, but you'd have had something that looks like this. Something like that. That is a function, and that's all a function is. It's starting on the left-hand side, starting with something, placing it in, when I was a kid, we call this the washing machine, place it in the washing machine, doing whatever the wash says, so times it by 5. That comes out here, and then goes into the dryer, and then that gets, then we take away 3, and then out comes the finished article, washed and dried and ready to go. Well, might need ironing, perhaps, but yeah, it's ready to go. But that's what we did, and that's a function. What we're going to do from this is going to make a name for this function. So we call this function f for a function. Sometimes we call it g, sometimes we call it h. It's very rare that you see any letters other than F, G or H, but if you do, don't be surprised by it. It's just the name for that function. So I'm going to take that function and call it F. So this is function F. F. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite how this looks. So rather than having times by 5 and minus 3 and just nothing on these sides, I'm going to actually have here the number that I'm going to put in. Yep, there's the number I put it in. Whoa, that's right, yeah, the number is a letter. It doesn't matter. It just means I need to make sure when I come out, what comes out of here is something that's similar to what goes on this. So x multiplied by 5, hopefully all of you will know that if I want to write that down algebra terms, in good algebra we never see multiplication signs. So in here what comes out would be something called this. Let's see if you get it right. That is what should come out, 5x. Yeah, so if you've got x going in and you multiply by 5, what comes out is 5x. Yeah? Happy with that? Great. Now, from that, we then put that into this box, and then we get something coming out here. Okay. And hopefully you get that sorted. What comes out is 5x take away 3. Now have a look at these things that I'm doing here. Look at my scruffiness of setting out here, and look at my poor number 5 in comparison to my really nice number 5 here. Yeah, be aware of that, folks. That is me making a mistake on purpose. You need to be more structured and more organised with your algebra, because that can cause confusion in its own right. And that's nothing to do with functions, that's just laziness. So let's not be lazy, let's really focus on these things. So what it should look like is this. If I use the function machine called f, and I put x into it, that's what will come out. And that's the notation. But I need to write that down so you know. Okay, how to do that. Okay, so I'm saying that I'm using the function machine f. Doesn't really make much sense. F and then this doesn't make sense. How do I know that I'm putting x into the machine? By saying f of x, because of means times, doesn't it? When we talk about probability, of means times. So f of x. So now I know that I'm putting in x into the function of f, and then I'm getting this out. But nowhere does it say this becomes that yet. If you've watched my video before this one, you will know what I'm going to put in this gap. The equal sign. So that function here is now written like that. Okay, so have a look at your other functions, see if you can understand what they mean and how the old way it would have looked, because it's important really to understand where it's come from. Hopefully that's the notation sorted. We're going to use f of x equaling fx minus 3 in part of our substitution now. Okay, brilliant. Hey, so now we are going to look at the substitution section. This should not take too long. We just need to understand what's going on and how it could be written. So you might be receiving a question in your exam that reads something along the lines of this. So what that says is find f of 4. If you remember this from the notation, that means we're going to put 4 into that function machine. When you're doing it in the exam, it's all about tactics and making sure you get the points. So what we're going to do is we're going to write our answer, f of 4 equals, and rather than having x, we're going to have 4 instead. So we're going to do a substitution. So 5 lots of 4, take away 3. Again, back to my equal sign in line. So my left hand side will always be f of 4. Some people keep writing it down. You can just leave it blank. It's not a problem. But for argument's sake, let's just keep putting it. So when I put f of 4 in, that gives me here now, that gets 20 minus 3. Again, my equal sign in line. So now I know that f of 4 actually equals 23. And you can do that with any number, whether it be 4, -4, 12, a fraction. The same process happens. So that's what they mean when they ask you to find f of 4. Alright, and finally, let's say we choose a different function machine. Let's use the function machine g this time. And let's say that g of x equals 10 take away 4x. So I made it a little bit more difficult to read, a bit more difficult to look at, because it doesn't really matter. If we understand what's going on, it's the key. Let's change the question slightly. Let's say we want to find x when g of x equals, let's go for minus 10. Okay, so what does that actually mean? It means that I want to find the input, find what I placed into my function to get the output to show of minus 10. So back in primary school days, it would have been going backwards in your machine, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to go backwards in my machine. The problem is, reading the machine's a little bit difficult here. Not impossible, but it's a little bit difficult. But do it algebra way, you're not going to have a problem. So here's my answer. I know that g of x equals minus 10. I also know, but because this is an equal sign, that the value of this is the same as the value of this. So I can do a nice little bit of a swap and say, rather than writing g of x, I'm going to write 10 minus 4x. Again, look at my use of the equal sign video to understand about this concept of values, because they're really important. The value on the left hand side is the same as the value on the right hand side. So I can either write g of x down, or I can write 10 minus 4x. It's the same thing. G of x is the same as 10 minus 4x. So the left hand side I haven't changed. So my right hand side hasn't changed. Here I want to get x on its own to find out what it is. To do that, I'm going to get rid of this 10 that's already on this left hand side. It's a positive 10. These are attached by subtraction or addition, so this is a positive 10. So to remove that from this side would mean to subtract 10, leaving with minus 4x on that side, or negative 4x. Whatever I do to the left hand side, as again I said on my equal side, I can't use this sign if I'm not going to provide the same maths to this side of the equation. So the right hand side has to face the same music as the left hand side faced, which is minus 10, giving me minus 20. Again, my equal sign in line, I'm going to get the x on its own, which is, this is minus 4 multiplied by x. So I'm going to divide by minus 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide by minus 4. That will leave me with x on this side. And again, the equal sign says the left hand side must balance with the right hand side. So the right hand side has to face the same music as the left hand side did, which was to divide by negative 4. Negative 20 divided by negative 4 is positive 5. So I've solved my problem. X must have been 5 for it to work. Let's check it out. 4 times 5 is 20. 10 take away 20 is minus 10. Yeah, it worked. Whoop, whoop. Happy days. Okay, then, so that's the end of part 1. So you've looked at, again, notation and substitution, but now I need to work on inverse and composite, so part 2 will be about those two. I'll try and make it roughly the same length, but if I have to go longer, I have to go longer. It isn't about length of time, really. It's about you understanding what to do. Hopefully those have helped. Have a go. You can find plenty of questions on the internet with the solutions. Doesn't matter if you look at the answer first. Make sure that you can get the process and make sure you can solve it picking on those points with the equal sign. So you actually can pick up the method marks as well, just in case. That's me done. B-Dog's out. See you in part 2. Bye-bye.